This is Leonard Nimoy. Join me this week in search of...
An argument.
An argument. No, I think the way it has to work is...
Terrible.
I think the way it has to work is...
Okay.
No, it has to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then say argument. So it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, argument.
Okay, so when you say one, we say
No,
argument.
after one.
Right?
There's a rhythm. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then we all say
Well,
argument.
but you got to say go or something.
No, just no.
We
got
remain
it, Jim.
silent when the host has to start talking on NBC Nightly News. Otherwise, you would hear the producer in the background say "go" when the guy says "Good evening, I'm Tom Brokaw."
Go.
Or whoever does it.
Okay, but he
You don't say-
said
you wouldn't hear the go.
All right. Go ahead. Ready?
And it's just argument. It's
It's
just
an
argument.
argument or
Argument.
it's argument. An argument.
An argument.
Okay.
What is the
argument.
name
Ready?
of our podcast?
Ready?
An
5,
argument.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. An
argument.
Wait a minute.
This
Okay,
should go well.
let's try it one more time.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. An argument. It's never going to be right, you guys. There's a delay. There's a delay on the line.
That's fine. We'll use that. Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
Are we ready to start? That was Leonard Nimoy from another spectral plane joining us to help kick off our newly retitled podcast. This is Jim Gentili. I'm with John Heintz, Peggy Bennett, Shelley Cummings. We are spread in 4 different cities in the United States of America. Social distancing, podcast distancing, and welcome to In Search of an Argument.
Yeah, welcome, Jim.
I was just
everybody.
going to suggest that John Heintz, who has worked so diligently these many months to figure out our new name, should talk about that for a bit before we catch up on what's going on with us.
Well, this isn't rocket science stuff. This is like the old podcast was called Two Guys in Search of an Argument because Jim and I started it a long time ago when we were 2 guys and we used to like to argue a lot. And then it just became... We had these, then suddenly we had fabulous co-hosts and we were like, we need a name change. And we went through an enormous quantity of options before deciding that we kind of liked we liked the reference to the prior podcast, but at the same time, we wanted to get rid of the admittedly overtly sexist and Jim and Johnist prior title.
I just want to clarify, and in keeping with the title of the podcast, argue with you by saying that while Shelley is a fabulous co-host, Peggy is a recurring guest.
This is true.
Agreed. Thank you for that clarification. And didn't you have some thoughts about you don't want to change the name entirely because you didn't want to lose our 12 listeners who would be confused by a new name?
Well, so I have since actually learned a lot about the technology involved with podcasting and recording them and publishing them. And the truth is, if you're listening to us, I'm pretty much planning on you continuing to get the same podcast in the same feed eternally. So you don't have to do anything. However, there's also the distinct possibility, and I will know it within the next day or two, whether there's a new feed as well. But at any rate, where you're listening now, you can be secure that you will be able to continue listening for the immediate future, and we'll keep you posted as to what's more. But it is, there was some issue with the internet, so picky about what things you type in the URL.
And there's going to be a new website, right, John?
There is a new website. It's already up. It's insearchofanargument.com, and you can go there now. And obviously, the first thing you should do is we will be sending out announcements. We're going to send out a newsletter. It ain't really a newsletter. It's basically just going to be an announcement of new episodes. But if you go to the website and just enter your email address, it's just going to be a little spreadsheet that I'm keeping. And in that spreadsheet, it's going to go directly announcements when new episodes come out will be sent to your inbox, which is a little bit better than perhaps the Apple podcast feed that sometimes
and we all want
in.
to get more email that we don't read. I think everybody in America wants to get more email.
Yeah, exactly.
John,
exactly.
There is somebody we should thank for helping us with the retitling too.
Nicole
right?
Serrano.
Yes, one of our dedicated listeners, previous guests.
Who knew? Genius podcaster.
And she helped us very much in terms of figuring a lot of this stuff out. So
Yeah, I mean, because, the big question really is, what do we want to do and what do we want to talk about? And that we haven't settled at all. So just to let you know, dear guests and listeners, lest you think you're going to be hearing some Uber produced production with a sanitized, perfectly clean, factually based information,
we
don't
are
hold your
going
breath.
to try to have factually based information.
We can also have opinions, though.
We are going to have arguments and opinions, but we are going to try to ground them in facts. And in that sense, we are going to try to go opposite to the way the President of the United States goes. In other words, everybody's entitled to an opinion, but opinions grounded in facts probably have more value.
Well, let me ask you guys a question, because I do think that one of the things that is obvious in the internet nowadays, whether it's on Instagram, Twitter, or anywhere else, is the abundance of opinions. My question to you guys is, I actually kind of like it. I'm wondering, do you think there are too many opinions and too few facts, or too few facts and too many opinions? I'm sorry. Take that, reverse it.
I have no idea how to answer that stupid question.
Well, no, I mean, when you go to listen to a podcast, or when you slip through Twitter or Facebook, are you looking to hear your friends post things about facts, or are you looking to hear what they think about things and feel about things?
I say the answer to your first question is yes. I think there's a lot of, I know it wasn't a yes/no question, but I think there's a lot of misinformation.
But nonetheless,
no, I
that's
like it.
The
it's
answer.
A good strategy. The non-answer is a good strategy.
No, it's an answer, because I think there's a lot
Shelley, honing herself to run for public office here. Yes.
I think there's a lot of misinformation. I think we're hearing a lot more opinions from people than we have in the past, which I think we hear opinions from people around election time, or when there's other kind of events that are happening. And then they go away for a little bit, and then they come back. I don't know that I go to Facebook or social sites to get my facts. But I go to hear what the latest buzz, or what people are saying, or how they're screwing up information. That's, I think so that's why I think the answer is yes. I think there's a lot of facts. I think there's a lot of non-factual information that's being spread. And I think there's a lot more opinions.
And don't you think that you read things that your friends, people you trust, might put out and assume that it is probably more true just because depending on that friend and what you already know about them?
Sure, you want to trust your
friends.
friends.
Versus going and doing your versus going and doing your own fact clarification or fact finding.
Yeah, I mean, Peg, this is kind of what I think, which is, and I don't mean this in any. This has nothing to do with like fake news or no fake news. It's not that debate, but to me, that is true. People have always valued the opinions and the information that they get from their friends more than from perhaps official scientists and sources. And I'm not saying that's good or it ever has been good, but it's who people trust. People trust their friends. People trust people they know. And they certainly trust people who are more authoritative, which quite frankly is why Jim and I are friends, because Jim, as much as I hate so many things that he says, he's always right. So it's like well,
that is not true, of course.
So Jim does live as a fact, but I think that people do. It's a question of trust, and who do you trust? And you trust your friends. And so if you get bad information from your friends, it's a problem, and it's been amplified by social media. But I do think it's how the world works. We trust our friends.
Can I
That's
comment
how it's always
on that?
been.
One could make an argument that the story of progress in the world is based on the idea of people stopped listening to their friends and neighbors and started paying attention to more authoritative sources. If people just listened to their friends and neighbors, we'd still believe the world was flat.
No, I get it, Jim. I don't disagree with you. I get it. That's better. I'm just saying.
I understand. I'm not disagreeing.
How do I know if Dr. X isn't a huckster, isn't a fake?
John, you are descriptively accurate in explaining that people rely, and there's reasons for that. I mean, the basic idea is we trust what we know, which is, you could also argue in another way that is at the heart of the tribalism that infects us, right? Is that, tribalism, which is the underlies racism and sexism and xenophobia and all that stuff, relates back to the old idea that, the people we know, those are our people. Everybody else, we don't trust them, or there's something wrong with them, or they're different than us. I got all that, and you're accurate about that.
Okay.
And there's some reason why that's understandable on some level. The point is, the fact that occurs doesn't mean we're locked into that. We have resources.
Well, I'm watching
to get beyond.
Westworld, and I agree with you, Jim. I understand what you're saying. I'm watching Westworld, and Westworld is, for those of you who haven't watched the HBO sci-fi thing that, quite frankly, is not very good anymore. But the thing that's interesting about it is basically it's a world where like the artificial intelligence becomes so big, that it's going to go destroy all the humans. There's been a million science fiction movies and stories about this, but this is one of them where they're coming after humans. And the one thing humans have kind of that the AI doesn't, and I think this strangely feeds this opinions over facts debate kind of thing, if that's what it is, a debate, is that humans can respond with emotion and with opinion and with prejudice and it's not good. I'm not saying it's good, but it's strange how it's in this age of where technology can always give us the right answer, where Google, quite frankly, can usually always give us the right answer. Not always, but I mean, just for basic facts. And so it really problematizes for me, what, I'm sympathetic to people who get lost in Facebook for their news. I've said this before. When I first met my husband, when I'm sitting in bed in the evening reading the New York Times, he's sitting in the bed in the evening reading Facebook. And a lot of people are like that. I mean, I know a lot of people who get their news from Facebook, and it's a problem. I don't think the answer is no Facebook. I think the answer is something more complicated. And that's why I'm hoping this podcast can do it.
John, there are a lot of articles on Facebook that are from the New York Times. People post
For sure.
those articles. So just because you're scrolling through Facebook doesn't mean Facebook is your source of news. You know what I mean? It's not like Facebook writes those. They don't write those articles.
Curated it now. It's now curated through the lens of it's even. You're right, Peggy. It's not the New York Times, but it's also not Facebook. It's this customized list of your friends and what your friends have chosen to post that you read. So it's this bubble that you've created, customized for yourself, right?
Right, because you're just letting your friends screen it for you, thinking, oh, they posted this, they thought this was interesting, I'll check it out. It's just like forwarding somebody an article. Like you forwarded me an article yesterday about the stuff going on in Michigan. So now I didn't have to go through the newspaper to find it. You sent it to me. It's not different than that necessarily.
And then later I found an article about Michigan on Facebook through the other mechanism, so it wasn't Facebook's news, but they had linked it to something.
Well, in defense of the people who say that the opinions are bad on Facebook, I would say that in most cases, and I think I'm sure Facebook has this data. I have a feeling that in most cases, if I forward an article a New York Times article on Facebook to my friends, and I make a little comment like, asshole Whitmer or asshole Trump or whatever, I want to say at the top of it, I bet a big percentage, I'd say most, read my comments and not the article. And maybe they even confuse my comments with what the article says, as Jim always points out to me that I misread articles.
Oh, I think that's real. Yeah, I would agree.
So that little comment thing becomes my news as opposed to the article of the New York Times. Just because the article's there doesn't mean that I read it and understood it.
And that's why we're here today, to explain things to John that he doesn't understand.
I think the difference for those of us here on the phone that read and grew up reading, folks now want just little quick snapshots of news, little short vignettes and not a full, New Yorker, New York Times, Wall Street Journal article to sift through, because they lose their attention.
Well, so I agree with Shelley. Exactly. I think they do. I think we're overwhelmed with information. There's so much more good content, for lack of a better word, out there, right? Writing and stuff. So we have to have it curated for us. So who are we going to go to? We go to our friends. Do we go to the experts? I mean, I do occasionally Google New York Times best shows on Netflix. And then I'll go watch those things. But I don't do it every time.
Right. So you, instead of going to a friend, you're going to your friend, the New York Times, to sift the information to you.
Well, I'd like to think the New York Times is more authoritative than a friend, but I don't know. Maybe it is.
I would say, with the
friend.
exception of me, that's probably true, John.
Well, and this all gets to the point of what are we going to do on this podcast? And it seems to me we need a massive disclaimer right now at the beginning. Hey, everybody listening, we are going to give a lot of opinions, and we might be wrong. We're probably wrong often.
We're going to give a lot of opinions. Doesn't mean we can't try to ground those opinions in fact.
Agreed. I never try to be wrong.
And I have a sense that our 12 listeners...
There's a difference. That's not the same thing, John.
I was going to say, I have a sense that our 12 listeners are also going to check their facts on their own and not take us at face value.
Would that were so, Shelley.
Well, I just had this...
Shelley, Jim doesn't have that much faith in humans,
our 12
including
listeners?
Anybody.
I think all of our listeners are wonderful people. I also think that, as John was lecturing us several podcasts ago about social responsibility, part of your social responsibility is to be responsible for what you say and how that might potentially affect people. And part of that is not to say things that are, not, to be clear, if you don't know what you're talking about, to be clear that you don't know what you're talking about.
So I just had this discussion with my mother-in-law, who we don't agree on politics, and she wanted to talk
because
more.
She's a left-wing socialist. Is that why, Peg?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean to say?
She said if we talked more about politics, I bet we would agree on more things than we realize.
Ooh,
and
interesting.
You're right. And then she went on and on and on about telling me all this stuff about, how Obama's trying to take credit for this and he's horrible and blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, so what's your source? And she said, I read lots of different things and listen to lots of things. And I said, what? Sean Hannity? She said, yes. I said, Fox News? She said, yes. Rush Limbaugh? She said, yes. And she says she has Fox News on. The moment she gets up in the morning, she turns on Fox News, has it on all day, listens to Sean Hannity in the car. So I said, so I'm not going to listen to that. And I'm not going to fact check your stuff because I'm not that interested. And she said, that's the problem with America today. People aren't interested. They should be fact checking. They should be. But yet she's not fact checking. She's just believing what she hears on those news sources. So
why don't you make a deal with her that for a week you'll watch Fox News if she'll watch MSNBC?
Because I have no interest in that. I have zero interest in.
But it would be an interesting experiment, wouldn't it?
No, it wouldn't. It would be torture and hell, and I don't want to discuss it with her.
Peg. I'm not trying to. No, well, let me put it this way. If you don't want to do it,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a useless discussion. That's a useless discussion to me. So I don't even want to talk about it with her because it's pointless. We're just going to go around in circles.
But I mean, it would be interesting. If Peg, and I understand if you don't want to do it, you certainly have no obligation to do it. You have better things to do with your time. But it would be useful to take two. That's why I think it would be.
You should do it. Let me give you her number.
I would. Yeah,
I'll do it. I'll do it with her. I'll do it.
Plus, I don't.
But I do think it would be interesting. I don't know. I don't think we've ever had anyone on the podcast who is
a Trump supporter.
Trump supporter.
I think
we haven't. Because we're trying to avoid arguing like that.
Well, who have we had on that?
Right. We're in search of an argument. We haven't found one. We're in search of it, but we haven't found one.
Okay. But I mean, let me just clarify that. I don't want somebody on who's going to, say racist, horrible things. But I don't think, this is my opinion, I don't think that everybody who supports Trump is a racist or anything like that.
Nor do I.
So I think it would be interesting to hear that, to talk through that. And sure, I think that would be an interesting experiment to see, does sort of an agreed upon enforced exposure to, quote, the other side, does that, even if it doesn't change your opinion, does it give you any better understanding of the other person's opinion?
Well, when you say you don't think everybody who is a Trump supporter is a racist, that's kind of a
I agree.
big statement, but I believe
You
that
disagree with
you
that?
get a pass for voting for him the first time around. But if you vote for him the second time around, then you are a racist.
Well, what's changed, Peg?
We know more about him. I mean, I
Like
didn't
what?
know what an absolute psycho he was before he became our president.
Well, you knew about the grabbing the crotch video,
Yeah,
right?
okay,
You knew
but-
about that, the sexism.
Yep.
You knew all the years of things he had done in New York and all the articles written. I mean, it's not like he hasn't been in the spotlight for a very long time.
Yeah, but
is
I've never
new?
listened to him like I have to listen to him now. You know what I mean? I guess I didn't pay that much attention. I just thought he was a big buffoon firing people on a reality TV
Okay.
show, filing
Just to be
for bankruptcy.
None of us supports Trump. I don't support Trump. But Peg, let me ask John and Shelley this. What do you say to someone who doesn't like Trump, say, but is a conservative, believes in conservative principles, believes there should be conservative judges, perhaps they're pro-life, they find abortion deeply unsettling. What do you say to them about voting when the alternative is, if you don't vote for Trump, essentially you're supporting a Democrat who is not conservative and not pro-life?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. And I know of people who said they voted for Trump just because they wanted their conservative Supreme Court justice because of abortion. And she said, I had to plug my nose when I voted for him. And
I mean, I don't think that those people are necessarily racist. I think that
no. And that's what I think the first time around. But now that you've heard him say all these horrible racist things, then, I mean, I'm a believer in voting and don't like the option that I know a lot of other people took that didn't vote at all because they didn't like either party's candidate.
Mhm.
So it's a tough one. I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah.
But
My conversations, not to cut you off, Peggy, but the conversations that I've had along the same vein are that those folks would rather not vote than vote for somebody that they can't get behind, even if it wasn't, completely aligned with their, or even partially aligned. So they'd rather just not vote because they don't want to have they're endorsing somebody else. I know your point, Jim, by not voting, you're de facto supporting the other person, but they don't feel that way.
You don't have to. I mean, look, it's a free country. You don't have to vote. The fact is that most of the studies of people who don't vote show that it's a very small percentage of people who don't vote are what are considered high information non-voters. In other words, most people who don't vote are people who are basically not interested or only mildly
Checked out.
interested. There are some non-voters who pay a lot of attention and make a decision not to vote based on, principle like that, and that's fine. That's their choice. I think people, should have a choice. There are countries where I think, or at least there used to be, I think, behind the Iron Curtain, where it was illegal not to vote, and we certainly don't want to make that the case. But people should vote if they don't want to vote, they don't want to vote. But I mean, I do think the point is that I do think that it is I think that I think there are people that sometimes we support people. I mean, history teaches us that people make deals with the devil. And
well, let me jump in there, Jim. So between the four of us, I think that I think probably Shelley and I are probably, if we were to rank us left to right, I think Jim and Peg are probably further left, and Shelley and I are a little more like in the center. I think we're probably a little more just based on kind of things that we've talked about over time. But there's no question in my mind that I myself, and I know many, 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 many Democrats who have said exactly what Peggy said her friend said about Trump about a Democrat, which is, I'm voting for Biden. He's not my candidate, but I'm voting for him. I'm going to hold my nose in because they got to get a Democrat in there.
That's
in other
me.
words, they're essentially
That's
voting
me.
for the party. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of people. It's a
I
lot
don't
of
like
people.
him.
So is that so? And that may happen 2 terms. After it comes out in the first, after he gets, if let's say Biden gets elected and then it comes out in his first term that he did, whatever, because there was some sexual abuse scandal that becomes real. And there is some, Ukrainian finance deal that becomes scandal that becomes real. And all this information comes out and you hear him talking for an entire term, 4 years. And you're like, this guy's kind of an idiot. I don't want to vote for him.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to vote for him again, or are you going to vote for the Republican? I mean, at some point, this isn't unusual to a party.
It depends on who the Republican is.
Every 4 years.
Right. It depends. Like I know this same person who told me they plugged their nose to vote for Trump the first time around. She's going to vote for Biden and she's going to plug her nose, but she dislikes Trump so much after his first term.
My friends, is why Biden very, very well win the election this time.
But she would never vote for Bernie Sanders, right? So
absolutely.
So she would have voted for Trump again. And you're right. It's by saying they're racist is a bit extreme, but I'm just trying to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that in my mind, there's no question that Trump himself is a racist, but I don't think everybody who votes for him is a racist. I mean, and again,
no, I agree. I take it back.
We can have my son John on, and he can explain to us why we're all racists or something like that, which we probably all are.
The New York bubble.
The New York bubble. I mean, to be fair, and this is part of John's what he does for work. I mean, to be fair, there's probably a level at which that's true. We all probably retain, racial biases, even if they're subtle and even if they're implicit and so forth and so on. But
we're 4 white people. We for sure are.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. But anyway, I didn't know that our first under the new title was going to be a Trump discussion.
I don't know if this is a Trump discussion as much as it is. It's, for me, this is an elaborate defense of our opinions.
I don't know if.
Well, no,
true,
I disagree because I don't really have strong opinions, even though
Peg, there are certain things you do have strong opinions.
Peg,
about.
did you work on a political campaign recently?
Yeah, I did, but you know what?
You worked on a political campaign for a woman who may be. Didn't your mother work on a political campaign for a woman who may be the next vice president of the United States?
She's a high school classmate. I probably wouldn't have gotten as involved if I didn't know her.
It's a friend. I see.
You
don't really
very
like
strong
her.
Opinions on the following subjects: why she should not have her picture on the website for the.
That's
podcast.
Number 1.
Yeah,
she has strong opinions about the proper way to do international travel.
Her last name, not using
her
last
name,
not being a co-host.
Like, I'm not as smart as you guys. I'm not as interested either.
My God.
That's not true, Peggy.
You're right.
No, I'm not.
Right.
I don't read all this political stuff. I am one of those people that like it when somebody sends me an article, so then I don't have to seek it out myself.
You're probably smarter because you don't read.
I don't read the New Yorker in its entirety.
I don't read the New Yorker in its entirety. That has got to be the quote of the day. I'm not very smart because I don't read the New York Times the New Yorker in its entirety. By the way, Peggy is referring in that comment to the fact that at one point I was such an arrogant ass that when I was younger and I read the New Yorker, that I once said that if I dated somebody who didn't read the New Yorker cover to cover, I would have to break up with them. I mean, that's how stupid I was. So that is among the dumbest things, Peggy, I've ever heard you say. The fact that you can even get through one article of the New Yorker puts you in the top 1% of educated people on the planet.
No. It proves that Peggy, like John, has a little bit of John's ridiculous pretentiousness.
You have to be careful what you say about Peggy or to Peggy, because she will remember it. She will bring it back, like that cover to cover New Yorker. She's got an amazing memory.
Say, it's a well-known fact that people aren't smart become, what is it? A pediatric nurse?
No, I would have become a doctor.
Peggy's a nurse with dying babies.
Yeah, I know.
No, it's not like that.
And I think I think that's where we should put the stupid people in our society, taking care of dying babies. That's what we should.
Well, no, Peggy also was in.
Oh,
Peggy
gosh.
also was in a country
That's
helping tuberculosis-resistant
And
patients get
that's
better
where
in
we should send
Uzbekistan.
our stupid people to
Stop,
do, right?
stop.
And
I
my
shouldn't
favorite
have said
story is that Peggy was escorted out in Darfur on a United Nations helicopter.
You've gotten the point. You shouldn't have said it because it's not true, by the way.
It's fine. It's fine. Okay.
John,
But-
Peggy, Shelley, would you like to hear some facts today?
Sure.
I've
Yeah.
done a little research. I was doing
No.
some research on the
Shelly's not interested in facts.
Okay. I was doing some research on the 1918 flu pandemic, just to give us some perspective to the 2020 coronavirus pandemic. As of this morning, according to the New York Times, there are 238,189 deaths worldwide, 64,871 deaths in the United States. Would any of you like to guess how many deaths, according to the CDC, there were from the 1918 flu pandemic worldwide?
How many deaths worldwide from the flu pandemic? The
All right.
Spanish flu? I'm going to say it
Worldwide?
was
the Spanish flu, which again, probably, to be fair, that's probably just as much a imperfect way of describing it as it would be to call this the Chinese virus. So I know that was traditionally how it was described, but it's a flu pandemic. It's not like it wasn't created by the Spanish in a laboratory. It's a flu pandemic.
Worldwide.
1918. Worldwide.
World?
Now, bear in
Okay.
mind, right now, the population of the world is approximately 8 billion. In 1918, the world population was approximately 1.5 billion. So the world population has increased by more than 5 times in the last 100 years.
I'd say 30 million.
John, Peggy, you guys want to guess?
I'll say 50 million.
Peggy?
I'll say 18 million.
Say 50 million and
Okay,
one.
now I'm going to tell you that according to the CDC, John Heintz, who probably cheated and looked up on his phone,
I did. You took too long. I already, and I texted it to you guys.
is
I totally
absolutely right.
cheated.
So
I
John,
totally
of course, proved that if you cheat, you can be right. However, Peggy and
There's
Shelley
a
are
great
not
website I like. It's the Visual History of Pandemics. Yeah.
Peggy and Shelley are not wrong because
Okay.
there is a controversy about it because data was not. I know there are data collection problems today, but it was even more haphazard 100 years ago. There are some who put the flu death estimate as low as 17 billion. So there's a broad
Billion?
range.
Million.
Million,
Oh.
sorry. 17 million. So there's a broad range of the estimate of what the worldwide death toll was. How about, John, without cheating this time, what do you think the U.S. death toll was in 1918?
That's a
from the
good question
flu?
because I thought that part of the reason the Spanish flu got around so much was because of the war. So that makes me think the U.S. would be way lower, but I don't know. So I'll just take a
Now,
wild
the
guess. I'll
U.S.
say,
population in 1918 was 103 million. Today, it's about 320
so
million.
I will say 500,000.
Huh?
I'll say 500,000.
Anybody else?
What's the question?
How many in
What
the
was the
U.S.
US
only?
death
Spanish
toll?
flu, only U.S.
John,
Spanish
please
flu.
stop
Death toll.
saying the Spanish flu.
I'll
I
say
thought it was called the
600.
Spanish flu.
I'll say
I know, but-
600,000.
It's a misnomer.
I'll say 400,009 and 9.
No.
Good job. Good
Taking
job,
the
Tiger.
prices
Good job.
right approach. Well,
Peggy.
Shelley is closest. It's 675,000.
Darn it. I almost went the higher.
You should have gone high.
So
You should have gone high.
and again, I just want to be very clear. There are 64,000 deaths, 64,871 deaths in the U.S.
We're nowhere near it.
And well, wait a minute. What I was going to say is obviously 65,000 deaths from one cause and rising. It's not going to stop there, obviously. I mean, that's a terrible, terrible tragedy. So we shouldn't underplay that tragedy. I mean, we shouldn't, be dismissive of the significance of that, because it's very significant. But the percentage equivalent number of deaths given the U.S. current population would be about 2.2 million. In other words, to get the same percentage of the U.S. population to die, you'd have to have about 2.2 million deaths from this pandemic.
Jim, I love the fact that you're taking the heat off of this, because I got to be honest. I feel like every week this goes on longer, the pressure gets a little bit worse. Like little things are happening that are at home and around family and with friends. And it feels like things are just getting a little more stressful and a little worse. So it is really nice to have you come on here and kind of turn the heat down.
So I'm going to add to that a little bit. So my very small town in northern Indiana, Logansport, has a Tyson meatpacking plant, and about 900 employees in that pork processing plant have tested positive for COVID. It's the highest in the state.
Wow.
Which is crazy, because that town is like, I don't know, 16,000
That's like most employees.
people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Shelley, that's not where you live now. That's where you're from, right?
That's where I grew up. Yes. My parents live there.
Okay. Just to clarify.
Yeah. So this is why I personally am a little worried about the states that are opening, because I feel like it's not equally distributed in the state where the cases are. So the small town in northern Indiana has this high concentration, but maybe there's not as much in southern Indiana, but they're going to open statewide.
Yeah, that's scary.
Well, I think that's a good point. And I think, the point, and again, I'm certainly not an expert on every state, and hopefully the governors who are responsible for making these decisions know more about this. But in a natural disaster, you don't necessarily, depending on where the natural disaster hits, you don't necessarily shut down the entire state, or you don't necessarily have the same situation in the entire state. So it seems to me that there may be circumstances in which it's reasonable to say we're going to have one sort of set of rules here and another set of rules someplace else based on the local conditions. The other thing that it raises about the meatpacking plant you raise is, Shelley, is Congress is going to be faced with some decision about how we're going to deal with these. I assume we can all agree that, broadly speaking, the production of food is an essential industry that we need to keep going. So how do we deal with the problems of protecting the workers in those industries, and from the other side is protecting the owners of those industries? One of the things that Republicans are seeking to do in the next round of funding is to attach some liability protections for the owners of businesses.
Yep.
Which, honestly, speaking for myself, under
as
appropriate conditions, I don't have a problem with, because none of the owners of businesses created this pandemic. Just to go another historical perspective, during World War II.
No, the Chinese did.
Thank you, Donald.
In a lab.
Yes, in a lab. Yes.
Gotta let go of that.
During World War II, they had various different federal agencies that would regulate industrial standards. It seems to me the solution to this is you figure out, what can we do best to reasonably protect the safety of the workers in these, quote, essential industries? You say, this is what we're going to require, whether it's testing, protective equipment, whatever. And as long as businesses follow those protocols, then I don't see any reason why I wouldn't have any philosophical opposition to saying that they're...
Me neither. The problem isn't that, Jim. The problem is that people don't trust that's the real agenda, that this is really, and that this is an opportunist, rightist opportunity for conservatives to come in and gut health and safety protections for workers, and that it'll never go back to the way it was. And that's not a question of fact. That is a question of trust, and people do not trust people. For example, in Illinois, the governor of Illinois shipped a bunch of masks from China, and one of the claims that the Illinois governor and Illinois legislature made for why they did that was because they did not trust that the federal government was going to give the ones that they were getting shipped from China to the U.S. to Illinois, so that Illinois could give it to its healthcare workers. That's when that kind of rhetoric doesn't benefit anybody. It makes it all about politics, and it doesn't make it about problem solving. I don't know how we get past it being about politics, but we have to.
Okay, but to be fair, we have passed, the U.S. Congress has passed 3 very large bills with overwhelming bipartisan majorities that have started to address, some of the economic fallout from this thing. So while it's true that partisanship hasn't been eliminated, it is also true that a lot of progress has been made in practically dealing with things. I would also point out to you that polling shows that support for maintaining social distancing and for not opening up the economy too early shows overwhelmingly strong support among both Democrats and Republicans. There is no evidence that the overwhelming majority of Republicans say, yes, we should maintain social distancing, and yes, we should not open up the economy too early, because neither Republicans or Democrats want to die, want to commit suicide.
I get it. Let me ask you a question. Shelley and Peggy, do you guys think that that the Senate and Congress generally is working effectively right now?
That's good. Again, you were kind of staticky.
Right now or ever?
Do you think that Congress is working effectively right now? The federal government is working effectively right now?
Well, wait a minute. That's 2 different questions, John.
I know. Let's go with the second one, because I forgot what I said the first time.
See, this is where when I say the thing about I'm not that smart, I'm not paying that much attention because it doesn't.
Yeah, but you're a voter. So what do you think?
Yeah, and I like Shelley's comment about ever, because basically, do they ever work effectively? I agree with Shelley's little snide comment.
I want to know what you define effectively. How would you define working effectively?
Are they doing the best they can do? Are they doing as well as you think they can do? As well as they can do, given the context.
They can always do better.
I think they could always do better, but I think given that we are all facing an unknown and a mixture of truths and untruths, I think they're doing the best that they can. Could they do better? Absolutely.
So can I answer the question,
jerks
John?
with each other?
Because the federal government is a lot of different things. Is the president doing a very good job right now? In my opinion, no.
No.
But are some of the federal agencies, like, for example, in my opinion, I have a lot of faith in what Dr. Anthony Fauci says. And I think that a lot of people have a lot of faith in
Jim, I just want to know, overall, is government doing the best job to keep the economy afloat and save lives? That's
John,
it. But don't parse it. You're giving an equivocating answer.
John,
I just want to know
about
takeaway.
Federal and state government, or just federal government?
Well, I'm saying, do people at home,
I would say,
average people think government is doing its job?
Except for the president and his immediate circle, the federal government is doing a good job.
Yeah, but that doesn't theoretically Congress can override the president on certain things. So I just want to know takeaway overall.
I will say this, that I think the congressional aid packages have been very good, and there's going to be more. And I think they've done a good job. Has it been perfect? No. But I think the first 3 congressional aid packages have been good and strong and helpful, and they need to do more, but they will do more. I think that a lot of the, quote, bureaucracy of the federal government, such as represented by NIH and so forth, has done an admirable job. I think that the leadership in the White House has been poor. I think that I don't know the details of every state government, but I think that in a lot of states, whether the governors are Democratic or Republican, there has been strong leadership in a lot of state governments. And that's reflected, by the way, in the polls that show a lot of very strong support, bipartisan support, for governors in many of the most hard affected states.
Okay,
People
great.
focus
You got.
on. Wait a minute,
I get it. No,
let me
you've given
finish.
8 sentences, Jim. You get 3. You get 3 or 4 sentences. You're like going for like 20 minutes. Make your
you're
point.
going on
Pithy. Make a point.
I want to make the
saw
point that people focus on all these demonstrators in Michigan the other day, but the polls show that overwhelmingly people support Governor Whitmer.
Great. So I don't know if you guys saw this. I saw Anderson Cooper, who I'm so excited is following my lead and had a baby. I was very excited to hear that news yesterday. But
Sure
I saw
does.
Anderson Cooper interviewing the mayor of Las Vegas. Did you guys see that interview?
No.
No.
Oh my God. So the mayor of Las Vegas, in no world where she was being interviewed would one say that she was being honest or not political. She was saying we need to open Las Vegas. Obviously, she's saying it because she wants the revenue from the tourism and she wants to get back to work. When Anderson Cooper said to her, "Well, Mayor, if it opens, will you yourself go on the floor of the casinos and be there with the workers who are going to be there every day, risking their lives, possibly getting this pandemic?" And she said, "I have a family."
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, what a bee. Like, why would you?
So, in what world is that good government?
It's not, but you're talking about the mayor of Las Vegas. She's a bad.
Well, so what I'm saying is
ridiculous.
there's good and bad, and I get it, but that's obviously political. It's just obvious, right? It's like it's laid bare. I mean, Trump does this all the time.
What sense is
We
that
know that.
political? The mayor of Las Vegas is a Democrat.
I don't care. I don't think I don't care what party it is. She is advocating for economic growth immediately over the health of her people, including herself, her
In
workers.
my opinion, the mayor of Las Vegas will pay a political price for taking this short-sighted stand.
Mm-hmm.
So if she thinks that this is a smart thing to do, I think she will be proven wrong. Time will tell. As Bob Dylan said, time will tell who has fell and who's been left behind when you go your way and I go mine.
Well, so I love that quote. So I want to know what you guys are doing differently this week from the last time we talked. What's new with the pandemic in your lives?
Who do you want to go first?
You, Peggy.
We always want Peggy.
Nothing. The end. Next.
Peggy, what did you do last night?
There's nothing new. I went over to a friend's house, but you know what? We decided
Social distancing violator.
we did stay outside and we did stay apart, and we made a pact from the beginning that we were the only ones who we were going to see them early on. So we've seen them maybe like once every 2 weeks, and we do it for a short amount of time, and it's always outside. So we wait until it's nice. So yeah, it was bad. It's bad, but
So they didn't make that same pact with other people too.
No, they didn't, except they have
That's
kids,
good.
but they waited till their kids were out of the house last night to have us over. So their kids went on a walk
To violate
or
the
something.
law.
Yeah.
So, Peg, is this the
Exactly.
first time you've done this, or have you been doing this nonstop since the pandemic began?
No, we've done it since it began. Every 2 weeks, I said. We've seen
Okay.
them. They walked over one night.
The last time we talked, you were going into work. Are you still going in?
Yeah, I had to go 3 days this week, and I'll go Monday. And then hopefully I don't have to go anymore. They just announced a bunch of layoffs at my job yesterday. Lots of emotional Zoom meetings listing the people who got laid off. And my job is grant funded, so my position is protected. But our group lost 5 people, so that was a sad day. So I'm starting to see the effects of the pandemic, at least professionally, with people's employment, which you knew was coming. So bizarre about a hospital, but it's just the way it is.
Yeah, right. Ironic.
right.
Yeah.
Were they permanently laid off, or are they furloughed?
No, they're not furloughed. They're not laid off. They're not fired. So they can come back. If there's a job opening, they can apply for it and be hired back, but maybe not their same job.
Okay.
So they left in good standing. You know, they were laid
Mhm.
off due to positions being eliminated, not
Okay.
for poor work showing or
Right.
anything like that.
Peg,
Physicians.
Physicians.
What are they doing for like you guys to make
Oh.
sure? Are they doing testing? Are they checking for fevers? Are they doing any?
No, you still have to fill out that thing I told you guys about a couple weeks ago. We still have to fill out every day online about have you been screened by the COVID screening hotline? Do you have a fever? Blah, blah, blah. And you have this green check mark that you have to show to get in, and you have to wear a mask, but you don't have to. They've definitely loosened already the criteria. They've opened more of the entrances. There were certain entrances that were locked and people could only come in certain ways. So it's definitely loosening a little, but there's still somebody standing there handing out masks and making sure they screen all visitors, and there's still a strict visitor policy. So anybody who has somebody that they need, like to have surgery, you have to have a special compensation to have somebody come visit you. So they still have some things. The cafeteria is different. You can't reach in and grab what you want. Somebody has to hand it to you. Somebody wearing a mask behind the plexiglass.
And let's hope that stays permanently true.
Yeah. The sneeze guard. That would be nice.
Yeah, seems like wise.
I was wondering, but wait, before you go on to that, and actually I want to wrap up because I want to do an exercise class at 10, but the stimulus
Do you have a strong
check,
opinion about that, Peggy? Go ahead.
I don't feel like I deserve the stimulus check, nor does Charlie. We're still getting paid. We still have our same exact salary.
Peg, you know what you do then? Spend that
Spend
money.
the check.
Yeah.
Spend that money.
Or give
Don't
it to
put
me.
it in the bank. Spend it, and that
Yeah.
will help
You
the
gotta-
economy.
You guys
Okay.
got a stimulus check?
Not yet. I haven't gotten
Not
it because
yet.
I haven't
It's
done
on
my
the way.
taxes. But
Okay.
I know people who have gotten it. Yeah, and that's what we said. We'll spend it, or
People have a misunderstanding of how the economy works. It's not a matter of
Yeah.
deserving the money; it's spending the money, so that keeps the economy going.
yeah, I'll buy some green pans or something. Okay, next.
Shelley,
What have I
pans.
done? What am I doing differently than I've done before?
anything new? Updates.
So
Peggy,
my
you still have to give us a recommendation. Don't forget. So think about it now. But go ahead.
Freak, a recommendation. Okay.
Yes, it's a new thing. We've never done it before on the podcast, Peggy.
my company's preparing for us to go back out into hospitals and interact with providers and genetic counselors and nurses. So they sent us in the mail yesterday a packet of masks, just the cloth masks. And then eventually we're going to have, no, these are paper masks. We're going to have cloth masks sent to us that have like a subtle logo on the side.
Sure.
that
Never miss
says,
a
like,
branding opportunity.
In this together or something.
Because after all, when they find your comatose corpse, they want to be able to know who you worked for. When all this
Right. I guess.
Nice, Jim. Nice, Jim.
While states might be opening, that doesn't mean that hospitals are going to allow our sales reps and our medical people to come in and have those meetings. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But my company's really great in that they're understanding that, like, if I'm in Indiana and we still are on lockdown, I don't have to travel, even though I might be going to a different state that is open. So there's a lot
complex fast.
there's a lot of flexibility right
so
now.
you're not eager to get back out there, right? At this point yet, right?
I'm eager in the sense that I'm just going batshit crazy, living alone and just, not finding ways to entertain myself without that don't involve eating or alcohol.
Right.
Amen, sister.
Right.
But the weather, now that the weather's breaking, I can get outside and do more things. But I'm cautious. I want to be cautious when, because I'm in airports and places that are just highly touched and sneezed upon by people.
Yep.
So we'll play it by ear and see what it looks like. I think I'm come to the realization that my family trip at the end of June probably won't happen.
Yeah.
Which is probably the most disappointing out of this whole
don't say it.
thing.
Don't say it yet. I'm still hoping my family trip in June 12th is going to happen.
Oh, I'm
not
giving
giving
up
up
in
yet.
August.
Yeah, yours is a week ahead of ours, and we have to give a deposit, the other part of the deposit, pretty soon. So I don't know. So I think what's changed since last time is I am a little more depressed about the whole situation, which
Sorry.
caused me to do some retail online shopping recently.
Retail therapy.
Retail therapy. Yeah.
Stimulate the economy.
Yes.
That's good. Buying is good. Good. No, I mean that's true.
Did you buy from Amazon?
Nothing.
I regularly get from Amazon just because if I want something now, but I bought a bunch of clothes and shoes and new purses.
Oh,
Sweet.
No. You forgot
When we
about
do
our
the
pact.
Zoom version of this podcast, you can model for us, Shelley.
Yes.
Nothing new from me. I hurt my knee last Sunday, and I'm getting
Gardening?
fatter. No, I was walking to the grocery store, and I must have slipped or something. And it doesn't help that I'm like incredibly fat. But I've been in pain all week from my knee, but it's feeling better now.
Oh, that's
Yes,
terrible.
John, what's new with you?
How about psychologically?
John, we don't have much time, so you have to give your update,
Okay.
and then we have to give recommendations.
No, my update is I'm kind of along the lines of Shelley. Just, I mean, I didn't do the shopping, but I am. It's a bummer time. The overall, but I will say I've had some major bright spots, which is that my son has started gripping things. He is talking with gibberish like voraciously, and my husband got 6 new baby chicks put into the chicken coop that he built for the back of the house. And the chicks are so cute. It's almost unbelievable. They are so cute. They're like cheeping all the time. And they run around the backyard and they all stay together in a little huddle. And we've taken pictures. There are different breeds from Germany, Egypt, Italy, America, and somewhere else. So they've got names commensurate or matching their national origins. And some of them lay green eggs, and some of them lay. I forget
Wait,
what the
they're
other
already
color
laying
is.
eggs? They're little
No,
babies.
they won't lay eggs for like 8 weeks, 6 months. How long? A
If
month?
there is
3
a
months?
major
4 months?
disruption to the food supply line, you can slaughter and eat them, right, John?
Well, we're going to eat eggs. We're just going to eat a lot of omelets. We're going to be there. Apparently, a good chicken, and Shelley, you probably know this better than I do. I just learned this. A good chicken will lay an egg a day.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a lot of eggs.
Shelley,
They're
are
crazy.
you like a farmer, Shelley? How do you know this?
Yeah. So my grandmother lived on a farm, and we took care of it. So we had cows, chicken, sheep. I hated chickens. They're so stinky and smelly.
But John, they get upset, and if they get
Great.
upset, they don't lay their eggs. So keep
Well,
them
I
happy.
upset everyone, so they're not going to lay any eggs.
They'll be fine.
Do they get
fine.
upset if they're late for exercise class, Peggy?
Yeah, that's
Peggy, what is your recommendation?
Yeah.
I recommend either taking a nap or exercising in the middle of a work day. Because I always go to work.
So that would seem like those are opposite suggestions. Like in the middle of the workday,
Nap or
you
exercise.
should go to sleep or you should exercise. It
Or
seems
do
like
both.
those are the like opposite points of view.
And then you're reinvigorated to go back to work. I love this. That's one thing I'm liking about
I
working
fully
from
endorse
home.
that, and I have been doing that even pre-COVID when I would go to my
which
gym.
were you doing? Were you exercising or taking
Exercising.
The nap? Okay.
I wasn't doing the nap. It really invigorates you to have that break and then come back,
Yeah.
and then you are
Step away.
recharged.
Okay, I get it.
Yep.
Take a break.
I like
Well,
it.
why not?
Okay, that's my recommendation.
All right, Shelley.
My recommendation is, of course, a Netflix movie or a series called Money Heist.
Ooh.
And it is Spanish, so you have to adjust to the English words. I don't have subtitles. It's in English, but it doesn't match the movement of their mouths.
Oh, it's dubbed. It's dubbed.
Dubbed, yeah. I was blanking on that word. It's good. I just finished season 1 last night. Started season 2 at like 12:30 in the morning because I couldn't.
Nice.
Stop. It's
What was Amazon shut down? So you had to like watch.
What's that?
That's why. Otherwise, you could have been shopping on Amazon at 12:30.
right. No, I had to stop that activity. It's really good. It has it all. It has violence, sex, language, nudity, gay, straight, the whole thing. It's
Nice.
Smoking.
it's
I love that they put that as a
Lots
warning.
of
Nice.
smoking.
Smoking is
Smoking.
back.
smoke. Yep, drugs. What else? So it's good. It's got a lot of emotion.
Bestiality.
No bestiality. No. So I recommend it.
Well, that's
I really
a
like
deal
it.
killer for me.
Yeah, right.
And I go
Money
next.
heist.
Love it, Shell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead, Jim. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to recommend. I've been binge watching the TV series Mom, and first of all, listening and watching to Allison Janney read from a telephone book
She's
would
great.
be entertaining.
Yeah, she's amazing.
And Anna Faris, who's the other co-star of this, is underrated. There are many other people who are actually quite good. French Stewart has a recurring role as a chef, Rudy, and he's hilariously funny. But in addition to the fact that it's pretty well written and it's reasonably funny, it is a sitcom. It does have its weaker episodes, but it's actually about something good, which is both of the main characters and most of the other characters in this are people who are in Alcoholics Anonymous. And it's a show about people trying to get better, trying to make themselves better one day at a time, and trying to help other people be better one day at a time. I think that's a good thing.
My recommendation is Slouching Toward Bethlehem by Joan Didion, which I think Jim recommended once in the past, but I just read it. I've actually never
read
it. I never read it. I read it and I was crying. The essay, it's a book of essays about, and it's kind of famed for being the book that kind of, I don't know, Jim, you can word it better than I can, but for me, it's like the book that kind of created the myth of California as we think of it.
It certainly
today.
Helped create the myth of California in the 60s, sure.
Yeah. And the particular essay that really jumped out at me is the one about Hawaii for some reason. It's amazing. It's kind of a it's a fascinating essay, and it's because she blends this reporting and personal style of writing. I think we'd call it personal narrative writing today, but back then I guess it was kind of innovative, or maybe it might have been totally innovative.
Part of what they called the new journalism in those days. The same thing.
I like
Tom
it.
Wolfe,
it's how I think journalism should be, because I think it's more honest than journalists who think are totally objective, because I don't believe in total objectivity. I think everybody's got a voice, and so I really like the way she writes.
That was certainly the idea. It's interesting because I am rereading The Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test by Tom Wolfe, which was one of probably the most famous example of the new journalism from the 1960s.
Cool. Maybe I'll check that out. Well, thank you for listening today, everybody. I've already kind of gone over a lot of my appeals to you, but my first appeal is, if you like this show, it is probably going to be, it may or may not be a new feed in your feed, a new episode, a new show in your feed. But if it is, give us a rating on iTunes. That makes a huge difference. But honestly, the more I think about it, what really matters is, if you like the show, just mention it to someone. That would go a long way for getting us to get the word out about what we're doing. You can reach out to us on our website. It's insearchofanargument.com. And we are looking forward to hearing from you sooner than later. Thanks for listening.